Hello, everyone, and welcome to A College Student's Guide to SNAP, where we will go over everything that you need to know about applying for and using SNAP benefits. So today we will go over an introduction as to what SNAP is and eligibility requirements, how to apply for SNAP, how to use benefits, how to maximize benefits, and frequently asked questions. Let's start with an introduction. So what is SNAP? SNAP stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is a program that assists low-income households with monthly benefits to use for groceries. Benefits are loaded onto an electronic benefits transfer card, which is an EBT card, and this works like a debit card to be used at grocery stores. So you would go to your store, do your normal shopping, and then when you go to pay, this is the card that you would use. If you are eligible and approved, you will receive this card in the mail. So now let's start going over some eligibility requirements. So the basics for students is that you must be enrolled at least half-time. Like every applicant, you must also meet the general SNAP requirements. So we're going to go over what that means and what those are. However, in addition to the general requirements, you must also meet an exemption. So as a student, you need to meet at least one exemption, and we're going to go over what those are as well to see if you may be eligible. So first, general requirements are that you must have a proof of identity. So this needs to be a driver's license, a state ID, or a birth certificate, or something to that effect. You must also be a Louisiana resident, and you need to have a Louisiana mailing address. We'll go over the importance of this later. I know that some of you might be out-of-state students, but you need to write down your Louisiana mailing address on your application. You must be a U.S. citizen and or have verifiable U.S. CIS documentation, and you must have or apply for a social security number. So if this applies to you, if all four of these, if you check all of these boxes, so far so good, you are eligible to apply for SNAP. We are now going to go over the next eligibility requirement, which is income. So SNAP is an income-based program. So what we want to do is look at your maximum household income that you could have per month in order to receive SNAP, to be eligible. Your gross income is your total household income before deductions. So DCFS, the Department of Child and Family Services, they have a set of standard deductions, and once those deductions are calculated, which is not something you have to do, this is done once you apply. That would give you your net monthly income. So you can go online and look at those totals on their website to get a general idea as to what your net income would be. But generally, I tell people to look at this growth monthly income because you know what you make each month, and see if for your household size, you're making this much or less. So we want to look at this first column because this applies to the majority of us. Let's say you're a household size of 1. If you are making $1,473 a month or less, you are more than likely eligible for SNAP. However, if you're making significantly more than this, you probably won't be eligible for SNAP. So this just gives a general idea. I advise everyone to apply if they think they might even slightly have a chance at being eligible. Just apply. The worst that can happen is they say no. And then you would just increase your household size here. So if you live with a partner, you would go household size of 2. However, if you have a roommate, we'll get into that later. If you spend money on food just by yourself, even if you have a roommate, you're going to want to put household size 1. It gets tricky if you're living with family still. We'll go over that later. So next is these exemptions that I brought up. So first we went over this slide here, which was general requirements. If you meet all of these, great, you're on track to start your application. If you meet the income requirement, you're still looking great for this application. And then the final thing that we need to see if we should apply is that you meet one of these exemptions. So we need to have all 3 of these things, this general requirement, income requirement, and an exemption. So the exemptions are as follows. If you are under the age of 18 or 50 years or older, you may be eligible. If you have a physical or mental disability, if you work at least 20 hours a week in paid employment, or participate in a state or federally financed work-study program, if you participate in on-the-job training program, or care for a child under the age of 6, if you care for a child age 6 to 11 and lack the necessary childcare, enabling you to attend school and work 20 hours a week or participate in work study, if you're a single parent enrolled full-time in college and taking care of a child under the age of 12, if you receive temporary assistance for needy families, you would probably know if you already received this because you have to apply for this program as well. But if you are receiving this program, you may also be eligible for SNAP. If you're enrolled in a TANF Job Opportunities and Basic Skills program, if you are assigned to placed in or self-placed in a college or other institution of higher education through a SNAP employment and training program or certain other E&T programs for low-income households, you may be eligible if you are participating in a program under Title I of the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, a trade adjustment assistance program, or if you meet one of the new temporary exemptions under the COVID-19 temporary updates. So that's one of the most important ones I'm going to highlight, but let's just go back over this. I want to be clear that you only need to meet one of these exemptions to be filling out an application. So what we want to look at here, some of the most common ones that students may qualify for is working at least 20 hours a week in paid employment. I know a lot of you have part-time jobs. If you're working at least 20 hours a week in paid employment, you may be eligible for SNAP, but again, you need to look at that income. If you're making way more than the household size that was shown in that chart that in the previous slide, then you may not be eligible. But if you are making at that or around that number, I would apply for SNAP. Another common one is that you might be under the age of 18, but some of these other ones might apply to you. But one that I really want to focus on is this last one, which is the temporary COVID-19 updates. So let's go over that in this next slide. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they temporarily expanded eligibility to students that might otherwise not qualify for SNAP. So this opens up opportunity for a lot of you who might not be eligible otherwise, but currently may be. So the difference here is there are two of them, and one is that you are eligible to participate in a state or federally funded, financed work-study program during the regular school year. So what I mean by this, we said in the last slide here, I'm going to go back right here, that if you participated in a state or federally financed work-study program, that is an exemption. However, here, the difference is that you only have to be eligible now to participate. You don't have to be participating in the work study. So let me clarify again. If you are eligible for work study, but you're not currently doing it, you might still qualify for SNAP. So to find this out, you would speak to your financial aid department. You would look at your application. We'll go over that in a minute. The second temporary extension is having an expected family contribution of 0 in the current academic year. So if you're not receiving any help or assistance with paying for school, usually you have an EFC of 0. You would know this after applying for financial aid. And so when you go to verify this information, because you do need to verify if you follow one of these exemptions. So whichever one of these on this previous slide that is listed or these COVID exemptions, you will need to submit documentation about which one that falls under the category for you. So to find the ones for COVID exemptions, you will want to go to your financial aid award letter and read through that and see if you can find your information there, or a student aid report. If you cannot find that information, please contact your financial aid department. They're there to help you. They more than likely have your information right there that they can pull up. So please speak to them and see if you have an EFC of 0 or if you are eligible to participate in work study. Does not mean you have to be doing a work study, just that you are potentially eligible to do one. But these exemptions are going away June 9th. So you need to apply before then if this is you. If you qualify in one of these other items on this previous slide, you don't need to worry about applying as quickly. But if you only meet one of these two new temporary exemptions, you want to apply as soon as possible so that you make sure that you get benefits for the next year. Because like I said, come June 9th, these will not be existing anymore, and you won't be able to be eligible unless you qualify under one of these other exemptions. So this next slide says right here in bold letters, please apply by June 9th, 2023, if you are eligible with COVID exemptions. If you end up being approved based on those exemptions, they are effective for a year, so you won't have to worry about it for a year. When you reapply, you might not be eligible the next year unless you meet one of those other exemptions, but at least you would have gotten benefits for a year, which is extremely beneficial. I always tell people that when in doubt, just apply. If you're questioning if you might be eligible or not based on this long list of exemptions or other guidelines that we went over, just apply and see what happens. The worst that can happen is they're going to tell you you're not eligible for SNAP. But there's a lot of times where people think that they're not going to be eligible or not be approved, and then they end up really surprised when they went through an application process and were approved. So there are a lot of success stories. Please apply. The worst that can happen is that you're told no. So make sure, again, June 9th, get that in by June 9th if you can, for those COVID exemptions to be in effect still. So next, we're going to go over how to apply. The best way to apply for SNAP is online using the LA Cafe portal, and it's pictured right here. What you're going to do is create a user ID and password, and this is government encrypted user ID and password. Like, it is a very protected website, very secure, and so don't worry about any of your information. This is purposefully made so that it's got your information locked in it. We would advise you to apply this way because it not only is quicker for the Department of Children and Family Services to look at your application, it's also has all of your information listed there that you can continually update and have all of your information in one spot. All of your documentation would be there. It's the fastest way to get approved for SNAP. And so we just really recommend that you do it online. But if you don't have access to a computer, you can also apply with a paper application or over the phone. I have the number listed at a later slide, or you can go to your local office. But again, doing it online is the best way that you can do it. So once you create that account right here where it says the click here to get started, you're going to click that and make your user ID and password. After you make that, you're going to have this homepage that's starts with my account. And so this is what the whole portal is going to look like from now on. You want to click on this box that says My Applications. So once you do that, click Next. And this is what your page is going to look like. You'll be brought to this screen, and here you will click on this Apply Now button. Also want to note that you can look at your applications here. So these incomplete applications, say you don't have time to finish filling it out, you can save it and it'll pop up here, and then you can click Continue whenever you're able to redo that. If it's within 30 days. If it's not submitted in 30 days, you'll need to start a new application. But within that month, if you have started an application, you can continue it. So just know you can see that status there. Also, you can check for your submitted applications and you can look at their status here. So I really like that feature. You can be sure to know that it was submitted, and you can continually look at this home screen. So again, you're going to click this Apply Now button. This screen is going to pop up, and you want to check this first box, the SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program box. You can read through these other boxes here. If you have children, some of these you may be eligible for, but if you do not have children, you're not going to be eligible for them. So make sure you check that first box, and then if you have children, please read through, and you can feel free to click on those ones if they apply to you and fill those out as well. But for the majority of us, this first box is all you need to click. It's important to note, though, once you're in this portal and you can see these previous and next arrows as well as save and exit, you need to click on those as opposed to your computer's arrows, because Like I said, this is a government website that is very secure. And so when you use your computer's arrows, it's like a threat to the computer and it will just log you out automatically. And it'll log you out for a little while. Like I don't remember the exact time, but it's like at least 10 minutes. And it's really frustrating. So just please make sure that you save and exit, click previous and next, and log out on their actual website and not just exiting out and using your computer's arrows. It won't deter you completely. You'll just have to wait a little bit if that accidentally happens to you. I've accidentally done it before. It's not a huge deal, but just know that that will happen and it will be frustrating. So please be sure to remember to use those arrows in their actual application. So after you click this next button, after you checked off the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, there's going to be a page that comes up with a ton of information. It's just one of those like things you need to read through and check a box at the bottom. It's just going through telling you what to expect with the application and privacy concerns and that sort of thing. So check that box at the bottom after you read through it and click on Next. This is what your page will look like now for the remainder of the application. So you'll see on this left-hand side, it has all of these little bullet points. You're going to start with the start and then fill out the information on the right-hand side. Answer the questions on this page in the beginning, and then at the bottom here, it says authorized representative. If you're filling this application out for yourself, you do not need an authorized representative. If someone is filling this out on your behalf, they would be your authorized representative, but the majority of us don't need that. And so if that is you, you would click no if you're filling it out for yourself. If for some reason you need an authorized representative, you can click yes and go through with that step. But go ahead and fill this first page out, and then you would click next. When you click next, it's going to just bring you to this next bullet, which would be people, or after you finish out the start section, and so forth. So you would just continue to fill these out. Just fill it out to the best of your ability. So we're going to go over essential info here. Answer all of the prompts the best that you can. It doesn't have to be exact, perfect information, but just fill it out to what you think that you know and information that you have. Another thing I like to tell people is to make sure you have all of your information in front of you before applying. So things like identification verification. So make sure you have a driver's license in front of you and your social security number, as well as proof of your exemption. So if you have the financial aid report that shows your family contribution of 0, or if you have your work study information, make sure that you have that out before you apply. It's so much easier to have all the information in front of you before you start your application. So go through those things we talked about, make sure those are in front of you, and then begin your application process. It is crucial that you provide a Louisiana mailing address for this application. So for all of you out-of-state students or someone who might have a mailing address that's not in Louisiana, make sure that if you are in a dorm or in an apartment, you are using your Louisiana address, because essentially you won't look like a Louisiana resident if you are, sending your mailing address to a different state, and you would not qualify for SNAP. Also, this is where all of your information is going to be sent, so it needs to be a location that you are going to be at or be able to get your mail at. So if it's a PO box, that's fine. Just make sure that it's a location where you are okay with having your mail sent to. This is where your card will be sent to if you are approved. So please, please, please make sure that you have a Louisiana mailing address. Another essential piece of information is that it takes about 30 days for an application to be processed and for you to be notified if you're approved or not. So if you submit your application and it's only been a week, don't freak out yet. It takes up to a month. If it's been longer than a month, I would advise you to, if you applied online, go in the portal and check on that status. If you applied over the phone or else on a paper application or elsewhere, you can give them a call at DCFS and you can typically check on your case over the phone. If you can't figure it out online as well, you can feel free to call the help number that I have listed on the end of this slideshow. But it takes about 30 days. And then every 6 months, you will be asked to fill out a simplified report, and every year you'll be asked to fill out a redetermination. Both of these can be done in the portal, in that same portal that you just logged into. They're on the homepage. It's super easy. It's just really what that means. A simplified report is just if you had any change in income, that's all they're asking you, and you're just going to send it out. You either say yes or no, and fill out any relevant information on there. It's like one page. It takes like 5 minutes. A redetermination, you're also just going through and seeing if any of your income changed, if you're still eligible for SNAP. Like I said, both of these can be done in the portal as well. So now let's move on to how to use your benefits. If you are approved for SNAP, you'll receive an electronic benefits transfer card in the mail. This card can be used to purchase groceries at stores that accept SNAP, and most major grocers accept SNAP. So step one, once you get your card, is to activate it. You will receive it, and there will be a number on the back of it to call. Call that number and set up a PIN that you will remember. You cannot use your birthday as your PIN. It won't work, and you cannot use a PIN that starts with 0. But aside from that, you can set up whatever PIN you want. Step two is to go to your store and start shopping for food. Go to a store that accepts SNAP, and we'll go over which stores accept it and some tools you can use to find those. But most major retailers grocers accept SNAP. And then after you get your food and you're going to the checkout line, you would use this card as you would a debit card. So swipe that card, enter your PIN, and that's how you pay. And so again, we'll go over how you can check your balance and everything in a little bit in a few slides, but this is how you use your card. It's super simple, just works like a debit card. So now we're going to go over what you can and cannot buy. So you can use your EBT to buy most grocery items, but there are a few exclusions. So I have a little can buy list here and a cannot buy list. And in the can buy, it includes fruits and vegetables, meat, poultry, fish, seafood, dairy products, dried goods and shelf items such as bread, cereal, pasta, and snacks, non-alcoholic beverages such as like orange juice, any other juices, anything that doesn't contain alcohol, seeds and food-bearing plants. So I just want to note that foods can be fresh, canned, or frozen. It does not matter. The only thing that does is in this cannot buy, and that would be any non-food items such as clothes or hygiene products. But I really want to focus on this second point, which is hot prepared foods. Say, for example, you wanted to buy a rotisserie chicken that was cooked already. You cannot do that. That will not qualify for your SNAP benefits. However, you can usually buy cold prepared foods. I know it's kind of confusing. We're trying to advocate for a little bit of change here because we believe that you should be able to buy hot prepared foods with these benefits at grocery stores. But in the meantime, right now, it's just one of the rules. And so just be aware that hot prepared foods are not eligible at the grocery store. Another item that's not eligible is alcohol, vitamins, supplements, or medicines, as well as live animals and pet food. So it's really just food that you would normally buy at the grocery store, excluding hot prepared foods. That's all you can use your card for. But you can always check back to this list to see if you have any questions, or Google it. They have information on the USDA website. Let's move on to where to use your benefits. So as I stated, most grocery stores, retailers accept SNAP. They can be used at Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Rouse's, Whole Foods or Amazon Foods, Aldi's, Trader Joe's, Costco, Sam's Club. The USDA has this tool that I've linked here, and you can type in and see where your benefits can be used in your area as well and what stores participate. So that's a great tool to use. As well as these local places that accept SNAP. So Top Box Foods accepts SNAP, Crescent City Farmers Market, New Orleans Food Cooperative, Grodite Youth Farms, and River Queen Greens. They all accept SNAP as well. So we'll go over that in a little bit because they also have some really cool incentive programs to maximize your benefits, and it's a really great program. So we'll go over that in a little bit. But first, let's go over how to check your balance. So it's important to know your balance so that you know how much you can be shopping for each month. Checking your balance is easy. You can call over the phone and follow the prompts to get to the check your balance. You need to type in like your card number to be able to check your balance there, but it's pretty simple. But the even easier way is to download the Life and Check app. And I love this app because you can always check your balance, but you can also check to see when your next benefits will be loaded onto the card. You can change your PIN if you need to. You can report a lost or stolen card here. You can request a replacement card if you need one. And you can see your transaction history. I really like this one. It's very transparent. I would highly recommend getting the app if you end up being eligible. It's just really easy to track everything, and that way there's no surprises coming, and that's the great part of it. Let's move on to how to maximize your benefits. So we have some local organizations that are doing some wonderful things to support SNAP. So if you decide to shop at Crescent City Farmers Market, you can receive a dollar for dollar match to use on produce. So let's go through an example of how this works. If you were to spend $15 at Crescent City Farmers Market on any SNAP eligible food item, so what I just listed at the can buys for grocery stores applies here as well. So really the only thing you can't buy is non-food items or hot foods, hot prepared foods. Um, so anyways, if you spent $15 on any eligible SNAP food items at the Crescent City Farmers Market, they will give you $15 extra at the market to spend on fruits and vegetables. So if you're a person who likes your produce, like I think most of us do, and likes your fresh food, I would encourage you to spend your money at the market, because you can spend $15 on, say, like bread, milk, eggs, and meat and fish that they have offered at the market. And then say you spent $15 on that, you would get $15 to then spend on fruits and vegetables. So it's essentially you're getting a free $15 on top of that to spend on produce, on fruits and vegetables. There's currently no limit to how much you can spend. So you can go to the market, and if you wanted to spend $100, they would be giving you $100 back to use on fruits and vegetables there. So and the best part about it is that they give you little coin tokens at the farmers market for everyone, and that's how you like use your currency and pay at the market. And these tokens don't expire, so if you don't use them all in one go, that's okay. You can save them for the next time you're at the market and use them then. So I highly recommend, if you want to maximize your purchases and you love local food shopping, check out Crescent City Farmers Market. They're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Check out their website online, and you'll get more information about times and locations there. Another great way to maximize your benefits is to buy food through Top Box Foods. They give you a dollar for dollar match on all the produce that you purchase, and they deliver to most of New Orleans and Jefferson Parish. So you can get food delivered right to your door. And this, I'll go through a few examples of this because theirs is matched on just on their produce. So they offer many foods here. They offer fruits and vegetables, meats, dairy products, etc. They have a lot of local foods, fresh foods, but I'm going to give you an example. This first one, a combination box listed here, means that it's fruits and vegetables. So say you bought this combination box, these ribs and chicken in this first example here. Your order total would normally be $44, but you purchased $15 worth of fruits and vegetables. So your match is going to be $15. So you would end up subtracting that 15 from that 44 to get $29. You would end up paying $29 instead of 44. In a second example, you say you bought a fruit and vegetable box, which is the combo box, and a fruit box. Your total would be $35 normally. However, you purchased $35 in produce, which means that because your match is, it says it's capped at 50% here, so of your order, you would get $17.50 to spend towards that. So you would subtract that $17.50 from that $35, and you would only pay $17.50 for all of that combo box and fruit box. And then in the third example here, if you bought a combo box, which again is fruits and vegetables and chicken, you would normally, the order total would be $26, but you spent $15 on produce, which means that you would receive $13 towards your purchase. And so you would only end up paying $13 rather than that $26. So really, it's again just a really good way to maximize your benefits if you're someone who likes lots of produce. This is a great way to get produce and other food items while also saving some money. It's really cool program, and like I said, who doesn't love getting food delivered right to their door? I mean, it's so convenient. It's fantastic, and they have some of the freshest food in this area. And lastly, there's a few other places here that are offering produce at 50% off. So New Orleans Food Cooperative is part of that, Grodat Youth Farm and River Queen Greens. All of these places have some beautiful fruits and vegetables, local fruits and vegetables, and you get 50% off all fruits and vegetables using your SNAP card to pay for that. So just know that these are options. If you're someone who loves fruits and vegetables, please try and shop at these stores and see if you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, I'm sure you'll be saving a ton of money. We all like to save money and be able to spend on other items. So I really strongly advise you to check that out. It's a really great program. And they have just so much available. And finally, we'll go over questions. I know that this was a lot of information and it can be extremely overwhelming. If I was not clear enough, please feel free to email me any questions that you have or call me. I have my information on the end of this presentation. I'll go over some frequently asked questions here in a minute, but please, please, please feel free to reach out to me, as well as the DCFS website if you just want to look there. If you don't find your answer on the DCFS website, you can look at the USDA. They may have more information there. I've linked these in some slides at the end here. So let's go over some frequently asked questions. First question is, if we live on campus, are we considered the only person in our household? So yes, you would be considered the only person in your household. When we talked about household size with that income, you would list your household size as 1 if you are living on campus. If question 2 is, if our parents claimed us as a dependent, can we apply as the only person in our household? Answer is yes. You can still apply as a household of 1, and this should not affect your application. It should not matter if you were claimed as a dependent or not. It should not affect your application at all. So yes, please apply as the only person in your household if you are living alone or on campus. Also, if you're living with a roommate but you buy all of your groceries, I would apply as just a household of 1, as long as you're the one buying all of your groceries by yourself. It gets a little tricky if you're living with your parents, so we're going to go over that in a minute here. So question 3, if your parents already qualify for SNAP and use it, will it impact your parents if you apply for it on your own? So the answer is, if you're living with your parents still and they are receiving SNAP already and you're under the age of 22, then you cannot get SNAP on your own as well. In addition to that, you would still technically be getting it as part of their household size, as your parents' household size, and so you would not be eligible alone for this. However, if you are over the age of 22 and you still live with your parents, you can apply for SNAP on your own, and I would encourage you to do so. It won't affect your parents' SNAP if they're currently on it. If your parents are receiving SNAP and you're living with them and you're over the age of 22, they're already not going to be able to list you as their household size. So it shouldn't affect their SNAP at all. But if you are, again, under the age of 22, unfortunately, if you're living with your parents, they would be able to claim you on or in their receiving SNAP, it would count towards theirs. If they are not receiving SNAP and you live with your parents and you're over the age of 22, you can apply for SNAP on your own, and you don't have to list them as like your household. You just have to list them as you would have to list them in your household, but you can apply on your own. So you would put your household size as whatever that is. Question 4, can international students apply for SNAP? As long as you have a Louisiana mailing address and your proper documentation for being in the United States, then yes, you can apply for SNAP, which most, students, you have your documentation. Again, you should be able to find that at your financial aid office or somewhere on campus that wherever you applied, they should be able to help you find any of your proper documentation that you need. And then just list your Louisiana mailing address. And yes, you should be able to apply for SNAP without any problems. Question 5, can my mailing address be different from my residential address? Yes, you can write a separate mailing address and residential address. Just please be sure that your mailing address is the Louisiana address that you're writing down, because this is where your EBT card will be sent and letters and notices from DCFS. So just make sure that that is your Louisiana address. So those are frequently asked questions. Again, if you have any other questions that I didn't go over or need clarification on anything, please feel free to reach out to me. My information is on this slide right here. My email is listed as well as my phone number. And then if you just want to look more into the website, you can look at this specific college link for DCFS, or just type in the Department of Children and Family Services into Google and it'll pop up with SNAP. And you can also email this helpline through the Department of Children and Family Services, or call this phone number and follow the prompts. I hope that this was really informational for you all and was clear. And again, I'm here for any questions. So thank you all for listening and have a good rest of your day.